Welcome to a new update. And today we're going to talk about the fact that the markets have been correcting by a little bit. Tomorrow we're going to dive into some altcoins, which we are going to look through a few of them to see where you can get those entry points. But today we're going to focus on Bitcoin in this very short update. Before we continue, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe to this YouTube channel. Also check out our free trade letter, which we provide 3 times per week. And the final 2 days of the 30% lifetime discount is taking place at this point. Today and tomorrow are the final days where you can actually use the lifetime discount to join our copy trading solution, to join our platform with more trade IDs, with educational content. Make sure to do that. You can find it in the description beneath. Now, what we see with the market is that we are having a slight correction. I think that, as you can see on the chart, we were running from 16K, we've got to 24, which ultimately means that we're going to have some short correction taking place in order to get some more stamina to get the markets back up again. In that way, people are looking for lower levels at 20.7 or 19.7 to 21K to be hit. And I said earlier, if we get towards 21.5, I'm ultimately super happy to be buying into the markets. But I think that the odds of having that are relatively slim, as there is a big group of people who have been selling earlier that really want to get into the markets and will use every dip to get into the market, which means that you don't get those very deep corrections taking place, especially after such a first run. But if we get it, I'm happily buying into the markets. On the other end, we also have a group of people that have been into the markets for a relatively long period, have been buying in the past 8 months, and they are just either break even or slightly underwater still. So there's no take profit region at this point. The only take profit region is this region here. And I think those people will also just happily hold at this point as they have been buying Bitcoin at a relatively cheap level. So I think that the market has some more stamina to go, especially since Powell has been adjusting the policy or adjusting his tone. Now, when we look at the markets for Bitcoin, ultimately we can see the same conclusion here. So if you look at the daily time frame, we are just consolidating, right? You would say markets are falling over, which means that based on the fact that you can see the RSI flipping over here, we could be falling even further towards 20.5. But it's all depending on how the markets are going to move today. If, for instance, Bitcoin is going to close above 22.8, I think that the correction might already be over and we are eager to get ourselves into new highs. If we are losing 22.3, I think that we are eager for the level around 21K because then we are taking all the liquidity that we have beneath us. So that's what we're going to look at here. What we see here, based on the lower time frame, is that we've got a clear construction that's taking place. So we've got this entire range, we've got the range high as well, we've got a fake out ultimate rejection at 23.7 resulting into falling back into the range. And then we've had this bounce taking place, and I said yesterday the level to break is the area 23.3, and we couldn't break through it, which is a short trigger, and now we are falling beneath, and we have been taking all these lows, so the volume has been increasing a little bit already, and through which the standard could be that we are done with the correction, or we are sweeping these lows as well at 22.2, and then we can start targeting 21.6-ish. That's what I'm saying here in the sense that if we take 22.2, that's the ultimate trigger for me to start looking for 21.7, and that's the ultimate dip you want to get yourself into if you want to chase your entry points for altcoins as well. As I think that for the coming months, it's still by the dip season. We might be getting into a period of like 2 to 4 months that we continue with this rally, just like we have been seeing in 2019. But the difference is that we are going to see it all across the markets and not just Bitcoin. As in 2019, we have been seeing it on Bitcoin alone. And I think that the entire market will do well, just like we have been seeing right now as well. So when we look at the markets, if we lose 22.3, I'm going to look at 21.6. If we are able to crack the area 22.8, I think that we're going to take out all these shorts and then we bounce back quite fast in a way that I said corrections are probably going to be taking place, but not as deep as many expect. But if we do have it as deep as many expect, we probably are going to have a shallow correction, which means that there's going to be a fast wick back up and we'll just continue the trend. So I think that if we break 22.8, we should be over and we are starting to aim for new heights. If we do not break 22.8, you know the drill. We are looking at the lower levels. So that's the area for the Bitcoin at this point. Yes, ultimately, the dollar is currently showing a bit of strength, which is not suiting the markets too much. We've already seen a big push when it comes to the DXY, but I think ultimately it's all about the yields at this point, which have also been getting some momentum. But if the yields are not going to continue rallying towards new highs, and if the dollar is not continuing the rally and it's just a fake relief, so we continue to make lower highs, lower lows, the trend on these two remains to be downwards, which means that if Powell on the next meeting is going to adjust his policy and not continue the hikes and he pauses it, we continue to fall with the yields and the dollar. And in that way, we probably continue to have a risk on appetite and does well until the real recession kicks in. That's the update for today. Tomorrow I'll be back with some altcoin updates. Make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, use the discount, and I'll see you again tomorrow. Ciao.